News First, Newsline Prime with Faraz, Shauketaly.
And a very good evening to you. This is Newsline Prime. We're live, broadcasting from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Clambo on this wonderful, balmy evening. And we've got here with us a Member of Parliament, former Cabinet Minister, Mr. Chandima Virakodi. Very good evening to you and welcome to the program.
Very good evening, Faraz.
I heard you in Parliament. You were talking about the Prevention of Terrorism Act and the Counter-Terrorism Bill. Why do we need to cancel one and why do we need the other?
Well, that's a very pertinent question for the day. Not only me, everyone in this country is presently concerned about terrorism and national security. Unfortunately, we politicians, people are aiming at all of us. We have been using various tactics in order to capture power. During last presidential elections in 2015, our opponents, the slogan that they used was freedom.
Okay.
They wanted people to enjoy freedom. Certainly, everyone would like to enjoy freedom.
The most liberal-minded people would like to do that.
No, anyone in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is a democratic socialist republic.
Yeah.
People value democracy.
Yeah.
People value franchise. So when you take that topic as a slogan, people vote expecting not only freedom, they wanted transparency, they wanted good governance. From the time this government came into power, they've only trying to talk about those, but completely ignored national security, intelligence. They started witch hunting. They thought the law and the authorities that are there to implement laws are there to hunt those who are against them. Completely ignored, and as a result of that, entire country is presently suffering. The freedom that we enjoyed for 10 years is gone. Economy that has anyway been collapsing.
I think as importantly is the fact that so many thousands of lives were lost in the 30 years during the currency of that war.
Absolutely. So at such a cost, lives of the terrorists and the lives of our war heroes. These are all lives of Sri Lanka. At such a cost, what we achieved, we lost in a second. Now we are all grieving and we are all in shock. So everyone's concerned about prevention of terrorism. Because of now in Parliament, every one of us who are elected members coming from various districts in this island were discussing. But unfortunately, the President, the Prime Minister, is only his slogan or his prime target is to, at whatever cost, pass Counter-Terrorism Act and repeal Prevention of Terrorism Act.
What is his unholy, pardon the word, but ungentlemanly, indecent hurry for this?
Probably.
What's his rationale?
It's obvious. Like if he speaks 5 sentences, 3 sentences he often uses to discuss about the international community, international agencies, and the interest of the other nations other than Sri Lanka.
Has he relied on them and their funding to be elected, or has he relied on the goodwill and the expectation of the people of this country?
Well, we really don't know, but that is the inference that could incur in any Sri Lankan citizen's mind when you look at this. So, as far as we know, when 30/1 resolution was passed in Geneva, Sri Lankan government unfortunately decided to co-sponsor that. And if you may look at it, one of the conditions stipulated therein is to repeal the existing Prevention of Terrorism Act and replacing that with Counter-Terrorism Act. And fortunately, the members of the three forces, police, Attorney General's Department, and other experts from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's the other. Now, prevention of terrorism is the responsibility of national security. That is not even the responsibility of the police. It's part of defense. Prevention of terrorism or counter-terrorism. But this bill is being prepared by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that itself rings a bell among us as to why Ministry of Foreign Affairs is there for a specific purpose, not to be in charge of counter-terrorism or prevention of terrorism, or that has no responsibility directly in national defense. There is a ministry, and as per the provisions of the Constitution, that inalienable right is with the executive president, who is directly appointed, elected by the nation, entire country. So they have had various discussions as of now. But if you may look at it, the target of that, the aim of that is not to prevent terrorism. When we look at it, it is more geared to safeguard rights of the terrorist, and at the same time to curtail rights of the trade unions, student movements, even the press. If you may look at section 3, the definition, it covers all that. We are vehemently opposing that, because the intention of passing this bill, is this piece of legislation, is not to eradicate terrorism, but to suppress trade union, student movements, and the media freedom. I think media institutes must look at this section and raise your voice. And at the same time, when earlier on, as per the provisions of the Prevention of Terrorism Act, it very clearly states that confession of a terrorist can be, of a terrorist suspect, can be made before an assistant superintendent of police. Right. Of course, maybe now there are so many assistant superintendents, so you can amend it to be before a superintendent or senior superintendent of police. Right. There are so many of them. But as per the provisions of the new bill, that confession can be only before a magistrate.
Right.
And there is a criteria. The suspect has to be produced before, tested by a medical practitioner before producing before the magistrate, and after. And any objection, upon any objection, he has so many such rights. I mean, practically, you look at it, there are thousands of cases before magistrates. Now, if you now these days, we hear across the country many suspects are being arrested.
Yes.
So if a magistrate is to record 10 such statements, how long is it going to take? What's going to happen to the existing other cases before the magistrate? These are not practical, and also there are clauses like once a terrorist suspect is arrested, immediately the family has to be informed, and the name of the officer who arrested the suspect has also to be declared. These are you're bound to expose the identity of the officer who is acting against a terrorist movement. What happens to him? What will happen? What is the guarantee of his the safety of his family, of him? Likewise, but the terrorist is safeguarded. If you may go through this act, there are so many, and also as a result of these proposed provisions, no member of the security forces will come out to combat terrorism. Recently at we had the parliamentary committee. There are the relevant officers who are experts in the respective fields. Their opinion was that it is not required to amend the existing, to introduce the counter-terrorism bill in order to eradicate or curb or handle terrorism.
So it looks like that what you're saying is that the Prime Minister is trying to deliver upon some sort of assurance given to the West, the Western powers.
Well, I mean, as a country, as Sri Lanka, we, as the opposition, we maintain the position that we must maintain our friendship with the West, East, Europe, the United States of America, China, India, all the countries. But at the same time, we must maintain our dignity, integrity.
And we must sovereignty?
Our sovereignty, those come on top of everything. So, if we now, while eradicating terrorism during our government, we had dealings with the intelligence services of all the friendly countries. United States of America helped us, China helped us, Russia helped us, India helped us, other European countries, every one of them helped us. But we had our intelligence services who were competent, trained, equipped to handle, who had the backing of the government to diligently handle Sri Lankan affairs. Of course, when necessary, assistance was obtained from international intelligence organizations. But now, as we understand, all the some of the, like, immediately first thing was to allow FBI to come, Interpol to come, Israelis to come, I don't know who else to come. And now, I mean, those are countries, they are concerned about their country. They may be our friendly countries, but they give priority to their whatever interests of the respective country. And there are now, Sri Lanka as a country that is in a strategic location, most superpowers are eyeing, and this is the region that's developing for the next millennium. So in such situation, we must be mindful. When you allow a foreign intelligence service to handle our affairs directly, and in order to handle, we have to give them all the data that we have, which they certainly require to render their professional services, because they are the ones who are acting here. Then what happens? So we are getting into a deeper danger. Now, as of now, we are into a danger. We are letting everything into the hands of some other people.
So it worries you that
It
this
is-
country that fought and eradicated terrorism essentially on its own,
Yeah.
with equipment, of course, from elsewhere, but it was a homegrown problem, there was a homegrown solution.
Yeah.
Now you're worried that that has all been squandered by inaction. And now that the foreigners have arrived.
Yeah, right. But now, had you listened to former US ambassador in Sri Lanka, Robert Blake?
Yeah.
He very correctly said the operation during the time Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa was the defense secretary should come back in place for the betterment of Sri Lanka. Even them as friends,
Yeah.
they see that we are making a mockery of ourselves.
But you know, this business with the FBI here and the Israelis and whoever else they've got here,
Yeah.
isn't this paving the way to fulfill some of those conditions imposed in 30/1 with the use of foreign investigators, foreign judges, and so on in those allegations of war crimes?
Absolutely. I mean, that is the inference that the people of this country have got. That is why they alarm us. People tell us, like, we are elected members, we represent the voice of our people. What people tell us is that they feel that we have allowed, not we, the government has allowed unwanted interference into the country, and as opposition, very responsibly, we don't want to gain any political mileage at this juncture. That is why we have extended our fullest cooperation. In fact, as you know, the leader of the opposition, he convened a meeting together with the former Secretary Defense Gotabaya Rajapaksa of all ex-heads of military.
Right.
And they gave their suggestions
Yeah.
through their experience
Yeah.
to handle this situation. I mean, we are going to that level. We are ready to assist this government to eradicate terrorism without any gratification, without any political mileage.
As in, you don't want a position in government, you don't want a ministry.
No, not about positions. We don't want positions anyway under this government. But we don't want even anyone to say that this was eradicated, handled with the support of the opposition.
Why don't you all join this government like some members of the UNP did when Mr. Rajapaksa was elected right along in 2005?
Well, that was necessary during that time because
Isn't it now necessary to have a truly national government?
No, now, as of now, all those who are in the opposition, all 96 of us,
Yeah.
are ready, have indicated unconditionally to support. But during that era, some of the UNP members wanted to support eradication of terrorism, but some of them, you can remember Madavachi Kilinochi story,
Yes, yeah.
ඕන ගොනෙකුට යුද්ධ කරන්න පුළුවන් story.
Yeah.
That was how some of the members behaved.
Yeah.
So that is why the members who loved the country
Yeah.
decided to join with our party and form a national government.
Yeah.
But now it is, there are only about 17 joined.
Yeah.
But now all 96
Yeah.
are ready to support. We are supporting.
But why can't you go the whole hog? Can't you all join the government and have a truly national government in which only the leaders of the various political parties will be members of the cabinet, and so it's a sort of an emergency government, so that entire government Sri Lanka can speak as in one voice so that this country can get back, bounce back, as those billboards out there says, that we will bounce back. But to bounce back, we need one voice, don't we?
Certainly we are ready, as I told you, to work with one voice. But the issue is as to whether the government is ready and committed to do that. If you listen to their speeches in Parliament, Fonseca, former minister, he was yesterday seeking the support of the opposition to get the Ministry of Defence.
Yeah.
And in his speech was dedicated to attack those whom he didn't like, including some members of the military, ex-military. And Lakshman Kiriyala, he was concerned about sending out petitions about the president. And
what do you feel if you were president?
Yeah.
If you were president and one of your ministers was, and his officials, ministry property, was caught, what would you do to that minister?
I would have removed him immediately. That's the problem.
But that's the problem. The problem is the 19th Amendment.
Not the 19th, yeah.
How can the president can't sack anyone?
No. President can take over all the subjects.
Yeah.
And kept him as
a minister.
As a minister.
Without subjects.
Without subjects. But I think that's the problem. Now this is a government.
Don't you think the 19th Amendment needs to be scrapped and started all over again?
We must revisit, rethink about certain provisions of that amendment. I mean, now look at it, as of now, president is from one party but elected by the UNPS and some of the other members. Government is UNP. Can now, as independent citizens of this country, what do they say? They have lost confidence in the government. Now they are losing confidence in Parliament, which is very, very bad. These people, they don't run the country. They are not committed to resolve any issue. When assistance is offered by the opposition, neither do they support. Now,
are they sorry, can I just interrupt you 1 second? Are they losing confidence in government because of any particular one reason, or actually are you saying that they're losing confidence in the Prime Minister and his team?
They have lost confidence. Now the best is the schools.
Yeah.
Now when we were small, when we were going to school, in the height of terrorism, we used to go to school. Of course there were like gate duty by the parents and there were extra security, but with all that we never feared going to school. But now government specifically say, invite, come, we will protect you. But parents don't have confidence in this government. That has been, I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I think I would have even previously taken up this issue. The main issue of this government has been losing trust, losing confidence of people. Now it has come to its highest. In most schools, the turnover even today has not been even 35%.
Can you envisage a scenario where President Sirisena, Prime Minister Wickremesinghe and Leader of the Opposition Mahinda Rajapaksa all pitch up with their spouses even maybe to a school in the morning to welcome students back in?
Wait.
Can you envisage that? Three of them together?
No, in the sense when three of them together, just by seeing them outside and
yeah, but it's an encouragement.
No, but it is not, because the people people are not fools.
Right.
They will always look at the conduct, past conduct, and what's happening. So they are now confused. That's the problem. I mean,
So how do you deconfuse the whole thing? Do you have elections?
only way out is to allow an election in this country. There is no other way. I don't know, they are not, I mean, UNP, the government doesn't seem to be taking up the challenge. When we give the fullest assistance, support, what do? Even in parliament, they attack each other.
Yeah.
One minister is attacking the other minister. Now, Fonseca was attacking other ministers in his own party.
Yeah.
There were so many other speakers who were attacking each other.
Yeah.
That's not, I mean, we haven't even attacked the UNP ministers, naming them, because it's not the time to do that. We must realize this is a time of national disaster. At a time like this, top priority must be to resolve this issue. And also now that this is a time to realize why did it happen. If you take the history of this country, in order to come to power, two main political parties, all of us are responsible. They accommodated minority political parties with communal religious identity to be promoted.
That can't be a good idea.
No, that is the reason for this disaster. I mean, main political parties must be able to represent all the communities. Whereas now, I hope very soon there will be political parties who represent caste also. You should, even in parliament I raised it, why can't we all get together and do away with communal political parties and let them all join the mainstream parties and think like Sri Lanka. We must think. Otherwise, now take my district.
Yeah.
My district doesn't have a single Muslim or Tamil member in the parliament or in the provincial council. Neither will there be such members in the future also. But we do represent the interest of those communities, and there is communal harmony. They come to us. We don't like.
We visited some of these little hamlets where the minorities live in the Galle district.
Certainly. We live in harmony, but now what's going to happen? These communal religious, extreme religious parties, they try to move in and create unrest. Finally, what happened to the country? So, another thing is, Sri Lanka has only 21 million. We have so many personal laws. Now, even as Sinhalese, we have our Cadian law. Tamils have their Tesavalami.
Yeah.
Muslims have their Karthik codes. I mean, they are even the Muslim community. They make representations, especially the female, of the hardships that they face due to such system. Like, if you say talak 3 times,
They're divorced.
I mean, is that fair?
Well, there has been, I admit that the Muslim Marriage Law Act, there's some opposition to that.
Yeah.
But,
but we must, if we are one country, if we want to treat everyone alike, there must be one law which is before which everyone is equal.
I agree. The law is the law.
Law has to be the law of this country if you are Sri Lanka.
Absolutely.
Of course, if you want to be bound by a law of any other country, you are certainly free to live in that particular country. But Sri Lankan identity must be maintained. Then most of these issues can be automatically
I
resolved.
think we need to light up Sri Lanka with this idea, which we've had for years and years.
Absolutely.
Which is that we are one Sri Lanka.
We are one Sri Lanka. We below our political parties, they are there to look into the interests of the country and to the interest of every Sri Lankan. Whether they now, I mean, as a southerner, when we were small, the time as we wake up, those days, SLBC had this song, Me Sinhala Apage Ratai, Apa Ipadena Marana Ratai, Me Sinhala Apage Ratai. But eventually, we gave up those. That song is not being even broadcast. Because
I'm tempted to say quite rightly.
yeah, so we, as the majority, we gave up that thinking in order to be able to live in this country together with every
But I think
community.
we're at the end of our program, and Max was shouting in my ear.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, as we finish, we need to say this thing, that Sri Lanka is one nation, one country, and the actions of the perverted actions of a minority few will not change the way Sri Lanka goes forward.
Absolutely. And also, now as a result of these a few, what has happened to our Muslim brothers? Now, I mean, we have been living like brothers and sisters. Now, when you say Muslim, when you see somebody with a beard, people will say, oh, don't know whether he's this, that. I mean, that is very unfair.
Absolutely.
That should not happen. And
But
now,
it's up to you, me, and everybody else to not allow that to happen.
absolutely. I mean, but at the same time, when people are hurt now, to tell you,
Yeah.
I was at a wedding a couple of days back. Then a very senior citizen, a professional, he walked up to my table. He said, see what's happening? I changed my dog's name and I named him after one of the cabinet ministers. So that's how the southern Sinhalese have begun to think. That's not correct. We should not let that kind of thing happen.
Chandra Veerakodi, you've made me laugh at the end of this program. Thank you very much for being on the program. One nation, one country, one Sri Lanka. I love the notion. Thank you very much. One nation, one country, one Sri Lanka.
And one law.
And one law. The law is the law. That was it on Newsline Prime. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Have a great evening, because all is not gloom. There is hope after all. Take care and God bless.
Thank you very much for inviting.
News First, Newsline Prime with Faraz Shauketaly.